Hey guys, it's Danny here. I'm about to work on a SAAB. Now what is one thing you don't want to happen when it's winter time? Is the window to be broken and not go down. Now I have not even looked at what is wrong with this. I didn't take it apart, I didn't check. I'm already imagining that the regulator is busted. What happened was the dog was in the car and the window was down a little bit and we're okay with the tape peeling. The window was down a little bit and the dog put its head out and jumped out of the car and pushed the window down. Now there was no broken glass, the dog is okay, the dog got back in, safe and sound, but after she was just coming back from the vet. But what happened, I think, is she pushed down and broke the regulator, broke one of the pulleys and snapped the wire or something because there's no broken glass. So what could she have broken? The motor or the regulator itself? So Rock Auto has one. A tip when you're installing them is to check the wires, because we used to get some aftermarket ones where the wires, you hook up blue to blue and red to red or whatever it was, and it would go the opposite way of the switch. So you sometimes just have to switch the wires, you know. So I will check that before I button everything back up, because that would suck. So step one on this is to pop this off. Sometimes these are loose and you could just kind of grab them and pull them off. They just snap in. But this will take some prying around, some lifting up. And it's off. And you have two Torx in there. Alright, we got a T30. The rest of the job is to go around the edge with that same little tool. These are from Harbor Freight and they work pretty good. There's another tool that sometimes works. It's one of these like separators. You squeeze it and it pulls the panel off of the clip, or the clip out of the door itself. So just gonna get behind here and pry around. So once you start prying them all off, you can get your hand behind there and pop off the rest. And then you just want to push up on the bottom and push it. Trying to do this with one hand for the first time. You lift it over your lock. Make sure you don't accidentally lock the door and then wind up shutting it. The next thing is to pry this gently. Sometimes use a screwdriver, pry in here and pull the cable out of here. The cable is just this rod with a little like bend like this, and you could just, once this is off, it's easy to pull that right out. Then you disconnect your electrical switch. So one connector is really easy. One connector is really easy to get out. You just push the tab in and wiggle it out. Connector better. In the middle there, right there, you have to push that down and pull this black lever. You didn't even have to push that down much. I didn't even touch it. You fold the black lever over and it unplugs. Put your door panel somewhere. Now some of these stuck in the door. Actually, that's the only one that's stuck. They are easy to replace. They slide out, so you could just slide them back in. Sometimes these do break. You don't need all of them to put the door panel back on, you know, if you have like one missing or one broken. So this actually might have talked about broken. I think it actually broke a little bit off of, actually broke off a little bit on that. The plastic on the door panel itself broke. Peel this back. You tell this has never been off because it's not ripped. Try to rip it close to the edge. You know, because then you could retape it back. This was no good right there, ripping that way. It's hard with one hand. I can't. Oh shoot. Oh well. Fuck. Okay. Gonna need two hands. But you pry this away. God. Two hands are definitely better than one. Sorry. And I will be able to unplug the motor right here. So this red tab pulls down, and once it's pulled down all the way, you could wiggle it off. It just locks in like that. Sometimes you have to push the top down or wiggle a little screwdriver or a pick in between the red and the black. You can see the cable here is not supposed to be that like that. So yeah. I'm gonna push the window up and remove the bolts that hold the window in. There's two 10s that hold the window in. I have the new one here, Pro Parts Sweden. One thing I wouldn't really care too much about being aftermarket, especially who knows how much the OEM one is. And this isn't a very drastic part. This isn't like an engine part or something. So here's the new one. You can see there's one bolt there, a nut, and these are the two bolts where the window go in. The connector, because it's gonna have to be, there's no actual like connector on it, which is annoying. Okay, I'm leaving the window in. I am going to remove this 10, this 10, and this 10, and this is all free. Once it's free, I'm gonna push it down, probably this way, and come out. I'll have to hold this window up so that this will clear. So, window all the way up, keeping my fingers on it. I push this back, get my piece of wood out of the way, and pull this straight out. And there's your problem. Up, wood out, regulator, regulator in. I'm struggling because the black cable, there's a black cable that goes like this. It goes looped around. It hits the foam on the inside of the door, so I need to just like force this bottom nut through here to get this one and this one to line up. And then put one just to hold it. Put it on a little bit, finger tight. Try and get the other one to line up here. Actually, you should put the top one in first. So putting the top one in next. Make sure I push the window up. And then the bolt the nuts through. I lowered the window till I could put the two little bolts in. I made a bit of a boo-boo and I didn't look through all of the packaging, and I thought they used to come with connectors, and they do, but I already just cut mine off from the car. Stripped back, inserted on, crimped, and then on the other side stick it in and then crimp it to this. It shouldn't really be moving around much, and if it does, I could just cut these off and crimp it to here. But I shouldn't have cut that off. It was literally sitting right there in that bag. So I'm sure everyone knows how to use these, but if you don't, these are the crimp style. These aren't heat shrink, these are kind of junky. So I have a crimping tool that I put them in right at the top, and that little thing presses in and squishes. I do it twice on these because they're kind of big and junky, these connectors. So you just slip it on until you can tell that the wire is in far enough. These are really big and easy to see that it's in far enough. I can look down it and tell how far in the wire is. And then you go where the metal is and you crimp the metal down. One good thing to do is give them a little tug. Make sure they're not gonna pull off, that you crimped it tight enough. So now I'm gonna cut this here so that I can get these in and not have a really bent angle. Get them in straight, make sure they're not gonna come out, and then I'm gonna plug in the door panel and test that I don't have to swap these. Alright, key is on, it's all plugged in. Let's see, going down, and look at that, it went up. Pulling up, it goes down. But it seems that nothing is jamming it. It's going up and down without a problem. So time to take this apart again. I'm actually going to strip these. I'm not gonna plug them in. I'm just gonna strip them like a normal. So I'm not gonna plug those metal tabs in there. I'm actually just gonna strip the wire, since there's enough of the wire from the motor, and just put them in like normal. No, I didn't twist the wires because I was told once before that when you use these connectors, if you twist the wires, they're twisted and they just sit on top of each other when they get in there. But if you don't twist them, they'll wind up interlacing with the other wires. It'll be more like this, so it'll get a better connection than potentially just sitting on top of each other like that. If you were to twist the wires, they would kind of just sit there. But if you don't twist the wires and you just pull them straight and stick them into the connector, the wires can like mesh with the others, and then you crimp them. And if I was doing this in not a rush, I would have used a heat shrink connector, or I would use heat shrink on both sides of this. I would have cut this back some, this taping on the connector wire. Okay, this is like a vapor barrier. It's supposed to not let moisture get in the car or something. I taped it back up. I cleaned up here and put some duct tape on it. Just try and help seal it a little bit. You know, it's not a perfect like watertight seal. So just taping it back up to get as close as possible. I mutilated this one, but I'm gonna put the door panel back on. Put this, just it goes into the lever and then like fishes up and then clips into the door panel. This really isn't too bad to just put into the hole and then like twist this or the door panel at the same time. Don't forget to put this through the hole. I usually guide that in first. And then this has to, the lip here has to go over this. And then you clip it back in. You can give the door panel a little tap all the way around. I already did it to clip in all the clips. And you make sure that you hit it down originally so that it's all lined up perfect. And then these holes should be lined up, and put them back in, screw them in, and then clip back on, and you're all done. And now it works good as new. We also would spray some silicone lubricant in the sides sometimes to try and help the window slide up and down, but that's it. So say you're in a rush like I was that day, and the window just goes up, and then it goes all the way up, and it goes back down. If you hold the lock button and pull the window up as you do it, it'll lock it. And the same with the sunroof. If the sunroof isn't working, and it won't close all the way and it does that back and forth, hold this down while you hold the button to close it, and it'll force it closed. It's like an override